Oh my God, we've made it this far. Episode 2 of The Racing Alternative. A Hail Mary to everybody. I hope you're going to church on Sunday, Stephen. You're probably not. Paul Jacobs and Stephen Darbyshire with The Racing Alternative. Why are we called The Racing Alternative? Because we won't spout the normal crap that other podcasts do. We'll give it to you straight from... Is that where the jugular is? I don't even know, actually. And some really interesting subjects there. Of course, we are in conjunction with our friends at nrg.bet. Give them a look up, see what's on the site. And also, we would love your feedback on the podcast. Stephen, we had some great feedback. I saw it on X. Did you see it during the week? Quite good, wasn't it?
I saw it on X. Our good friend Simon Knott was giving us various platitudes, wasn't he?
Noxie, good
We
lad.
met him on 1 week.
He's a good
Yes.
lad, isn't he? Noxie.
He's a good lad, is Simon. Yes, very very nice man.
How much did you...
Not like you.
Thanks for that. And as you know, for the second week running, you can tell Stephen hadn't had his hair cut. So there's nothing I can do about that, okay? He looks like an older boy band member, doesn't he, from the 80s? Anyway, Steve, we've got loads to talk about today. And don't forget, we're on so many different channels and outputs as well. You looked at the podcast again on the Apple platform, did you?
Well, I sat in a traffic jam and listened to what great common sense we spoke last week.
Well, wow.
Yeah, so do subscribe, whichever medium you're on. If you're a bit Stone Agey, I think it's Android, but if you're down with the kids, it's Apple, isn't it?
Okay, sounds like...
Or we're on YouTube.
YouTube. I like YouTube. I love a bit of YouTube. Listen,
I bet you do.
something that I know you're a bit peed off with, because you know what I'm going to say about this subject. We're going to talk about the Colin Parker Memorial Intermediate Chase, a ridiculously long title for a race. And I think you've got one over me because you were there at Carlisle in all your festooned glory. My initial reaction to the race was I thought it was a race to follow, but then you poo-pooed that, and I want to know the reasons why, because I can't get into my brain why you think this isn't a form line to at least pay some attention to.
Well, I think you start with the betting. Now, I saw another pro punter on course. He had handstands at 3 on in his head. I had handstands. Yeah.
What?
I had handstands at 2 on in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. The value is on course. You could have got even money. You could have got even money for this horse. And I just thought with the race, I tell you what, this bugger isn't going to win. Everything, Mr. Paulin. Great golf course man, Mr. Paulin. That was a good story, wasn't it? Everything Mr. Paulin is sending out tends to be going very well. Well, this thing didn't. I mean, look, from a granular form point of view, great race, the Colin Parker. I remember being there when it was Bristol Demai versus See You at Midnight. Of course it produces staying chasers of the future, but it's pretty hard to get any sort of excitement about the form. It's like watching a porn film with Thora Heard in, unfortunately.
That conjures a really interesting picture in my mind that I just want to get rid of straight away, okay? You could
Yes, to do with stairlifts.
Thora Heard.
Thora Heard. Do you remember her on the standards? Anyway. Look, the winner had won a Whitbread last time. Over 3.5 miles. It's back to 2.5 today. The third home was making his debut over fences. Okay, she had more allowances than half of the non-working age population of Britain, but never mind that she had an official rating of 126. And the fourth home, who to me wasn't 100% fit, having looked at it, had previously finished 8th of 9 in a novice chase at Aintree.
Right.
So it was a muddling race at various points in the straight. Honestly, I thought all 4 of them were going to win.
Okay, so you're telling me, you bottom line is you thought it was an unsatisfactory renewal. Is that what you're saying?
From a form point of view, what I am not saying is that the horse handstands won't go on and do great things, but this certainly just did not prove it at all. The only thing that I think handstands has really proven in his career today is that he's a mudlark who can gallop them into the ground. Now, I know they're thinking of going to the Betfair. I think he would need soft ground, and there is, of course, a stamina doubt there as well. Slight, but it's still there. He certainly runs like he'll stay. But in terms of proper form, I think a rating of 157 does slightly flatter him.
Okay.
Against that,
Go on.
if you're betting in the Betfair and you're betting each way, well, obviously, I know Ben Paulin has said in his stable interview in the Post tonight that he'll probably go there. I think there'll be less than 8 runners, so you're gonna gain a place. But I think he's got a lot to prove.
Okay, and interesting, talking about Betfair, Haiti Claus won really nicely today at Newbury on the hurdles track, and Rebecca Curtis is saying that she's tempted to go there rather than the Coral Cup at Newbury at the back of the. Now, you said it's unsatisfactory.
You mean the Hennessy?
In the Hennessy. Right, yeah, just because you gob down bloody gallons of that stuff every weekend. You said it's unsatisfactory. I thought it was satisfactory because it was unsatisfactory. Yeah? And I'm saying that because I'm not a great fan of Ben Jones. I thought he gave handstands a terrific ride. I didn't think he really placed him over his fences correctly. He was hesitant. I made it at 4 of the fences, yeah? I don't think the fractions he set were good enough for handstands. I think he could have gone quicker, and therefore I've marked up his performance. And I've marked up Resplendent Grey's winning performance because 2.5 miles is patently too short, and off a stop-start pace, I thought he did really, really well. And I think the extended 3.25 miles of the Hennessy is probably going to suit him absolutely down to the ground. And I couldn't believe it that he was still 9/10-1 in places today. So I love the spin you've put on it. I really do, but you're absolutely bloody wrong. And I think we'll see both of these horses go forward this season. Stephen, I don't know what you think. I think the second season chasers this year are going to take precedence over the established chasers, staying chasers, for the last 2 or 3 years. I have no doubt about that whatsoever.
I don't know. I honestly don't. I don't form a judgment until we get a few races under us. 2 things I would say. Colin Parker was a great man. I once met him at Hamilton. And Ray Green has supported this race since its inception, and nobody knows that. Well, you do now. And I think Hollygrove Cha-Cha would have probably won had she met the Lasker correctly.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about the latter as well. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Okay, thank you for that.
So we will see. Time will show us, won't it?
Time will show us. And if you've got a view on it, please contact us. We'd love to know whatever media sources you want to go through. And as I said in the first episode, we are looking forward to get the punter on the show in due course, so you can play a part with us. Story came up in the press this week, which kind of fascinated me, and I thought maybe the press made too much of it as well, about a horse that was with Hugo Palmer in Cheshire at Michael Owen's yard, was owned by a certain ex-Manchester United manager, went to the sales, and then, Stephen, what happened after that?
Well, I'll just read you the story. A stable hand has paid £1,000 to provide a happy home to an unraced horse who was owned by Sir Alex Ferguson, along with Jed Mason and Peter Dunn. Now, obviously the horse is from Hugo Palmer's. If you go on Hugo Palmer's website, Hugo Palmer and Michael Owen welcome you to Manor House Stables in Cheshire. Now, I'm sorry that the girl, this horse clearly isn't fit to be a racehorse. It's her pride and joy. She's gone all the way down to Newmarket, paid £1,000. Stable hands are not that well paid at all. It's just a fact. It's no reflection on the Palmer yard. To bring it back home, surely, somebody should give their head a bit of a wobble. We don't know, of course, if she was offered it beforehand or she stated her intentions. But if she did, it would cost near enough £1,000 to get it down there and sell the thing. So I would just hope that it's an oversight and she didn't speak up rather than saying, actually, we'll make a few quid and go to the sales. It's not a good look at all, is it?
No, it's an awful look, isn't it? And to be honest with you, we don't know what's happened since the story has come out. And if something has happened, it's basically not been publicised in any case. But let's hope that former connections have done the right thing. And actually, it was quite wonderful to hear what she said. When the horse came into the ring, was well down the list of runners before it went to auction. And when the horse came into the ring, she burst out in tears because she's so close to this horse as well. And that's the reason, as you said, Stephen, that's the reason why stable hands work in stables. They ain't doing it for the coppers, are they? They're doing
they're not.
For the love of the game. And I think you make a good point. And for the first time ever since we've met, I cannot argue against you, which rather pees me off, to be honest with you. But then, I suppose you're right most of the time in any case, aren't you? Don't even answer that question. Okay. Yeah, it's a story that hopefully we may hear of a little bit more. It might just have gone totally dead. This week, we've had 2 massive meetings abroad that I know Stephen's not interested in. We had the Melbourne Cup, which I thought was great. And we had the Breeders' Cup last weekend, which I know Stephen describes with various words that we can't even put on this podcast. But I wanted to mention one thing about what I thought was the outstanding ride that people have kind of glossed over because it came on the Friday night in the Juvenile Fillies Dirt Super Corredora, who won under Hector Barrios, who is one of the most unsung rivals in America. And when you're looking at American meetings, the really big meetings, and particularly at sprints, and I know Stephen is going to curl his lip up at this in any case, if you're looking at the graded sprints and Hector Barrios is on a horse in a high-class race, he's always one to side with. He is brilliant from the gate. He rode this filly the time before it won on the Friday, and he held her up as an education for the Breeders' Cup, and not many people saw that. And from an outside stall in stall number 9, he fired her out the traps, and she made all. It was just the most beautiful piece of race riding that you'll ever see from Hector Barrios, who is not a poor man. He's won £32 million in prize money in his career so far and counting, but always have him on the right side when it comes to graded sprints. I think the man is an absolute dude and should definitely go above your wanted list, above Frankie Dettori, when it comes to trying to match a winner with a horse, Mr. Derbyshire.
Well, I mean, I spend far too much time on British racing, I'll be honest with you. I can't equate American form. I think that, all the American tracks are all configured the same. The great tapestry of British racing is the idiosyncrasy of race courses, and rather than that boring American rubbish. I mean, they elected Trump, didn't they?
Well, they elected Trump, and you were telling me actually off air, I think earlier this week, how much was a pint of beer at the track?
Oh, it was something like, what was it, $17 or something, and it honestly, it looked like, cat piss.
She probably had to have had the requisite amount of 10 points to level up with 2 pints of real ale in Britain to get slightly sozzled. Yeah, I get that as well. I've been to 2 or 3 American meetings in my time over there, and the atmosphere is very rarely buzzing, even at the top meeting. You don't get the same authentic atmosphere you get, I think, at the big meetings, both on the flat and over the jumps over here. Now, talking over the jumps, I know you've been all over the shop for the past week. You've got to tell that story about your car, because you were buzzing about your car, saying how reliable your car is. It's done 7 million miles. It's never broken down once. And then you left your abode last week, and what happened?
Well, I drove through a puddle, so thank you very much to the local council for not installing direct drainage. If you pay your council tax, they're all over you like a rash if you don't pay it. And then... so that bottom bit of the car, the thing that does nothing but looks nice.
Classy bit,
Yeah, the plastic bit just sort of started hanging off, and it sounded like I was driving Concorde. So I called in at the garage, and then, yes, it was quite clear there was a problem. So I limped home, didn't get to her, and ended up at that dreadful meeting at Wetherby. To compound matters, the car goes in for an MOT on Tuesday.
Oh.
It's a dangerous fault, cords exposed on tyres. 4 new tyres in total required, because I said to him, how many miles will I get out the other 3? He said, less than 1,000. I said, well, bugger that, I'm off to Sandown on Sunday, so, we don't want to be having exploding tyres on the M40. The brake pads needed doing. There was a service. Anyway, I came to a deal with him. It was only 650 quid for the lot.
Wow,
So,
that's good. Were they second-hand tyres by the sound of it then?
oh no! If you know the garage and you know the method of payment to pay them, I don't mean cocaine or something. I mean cash.
Yeah.
Yes. That's conducive to getting a discount, let's say. So yeah, all is now good with the vehicle, and
Happy.
yes, but I just completely jinxed myself last week. So God knows what's going to happen this week.
No idea. Well, I'm over my granny's greenhouse for you. Don't forget, wherever you're listening to us, we're available on all major podcast platforms. And as Stephen said, his favourite YouTube. So do give us a follow. Please give us a review, because it'll help other people find us or not find us, as the case may be. Negative, positive, in between news. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. As said Pliny the Junior, I think he was some soothsayer, wasn't he, in Greece. So we have the soothsayer that is Stephen Darbyshire with us. Professional punter, 50,000 miles a year, never gets his hair cut, which brings us on to the section I think everybody likes to have a listen to all of the time, which will be, selections. That's going to come in 2 or 3 minutes. Oh, because you've got a bone. You've got a bone to pick,
yes.
Derbyshire. You've got a massive bone to pick, because you want a lion on Saturday, don't you? But it's not going to
I'm not going to Kelso, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to Kelso.
Why are you not going to Kelso?
And it's because of this putrid BHA initiative around premierisation of all the racecourses. Have you been to Kelso?
Love it. On the borders. Gorgeous.
Oh, it's lovely. You go up on the roof and you just feel an equilibrium with the world.
Friendly, aren't they? Really friendly.
They're really friendly. Richard Landale, sadly no longer with us, used to greet you, and Jonathan Garrett does it the same. I am not blaming the racecourse, I'm blaming the BHA. The BHA are an absolute bunch of idiots for this. I nearly said a very rude word then, because the first race time is 10:40. So for me to get there and allow good time to get there, I would have to leave my house at about 20 to 7 on Saturday morning. Well, guess what? I want to lie in and a breakfast at Wetherspoons first, so that's that down the Carsey. Generally, with premierisation, if people don't know, they either start at an ungodly hour or they move established meetings to ridiculous times at great places like Hexham and other places like that. They make premier days. The utter shit that's on the old weather at Newcastle was a premier day on a Sunday this year, but Brigadier Gerard Day, which featured, some really good horses, wasn't. The entire thing was a complete and utter idiotic idea. Thankfully, it's being canned next year, and it's as if the regulator don't want racegoers there. Well, let me say to you this, BHA, if you happen to be listening or watching on one of our various platforms, you will find us.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Give it to them.
We are the second most spectator sport watched in the country, and you need to bloody well pay some attention to the loyal racegoers who go up and down the country to watch this great sport, instead of just doing things that, quite frankly, piss them off.
And racing is underpinned by us, the punters, in any case. No punters, no money coming in. The industry falls flat on its back. By the way, if you're going to Kelso, and I think it ends is about 135, 140, something like that, let me recommend 2 places you can go. Rutherford's Micro Pub, you can always go there, or the 1905 Bar, just so you can carry on your day, which is going to start very, very early doors. Very quickly, you're going to go away from our requisite menu we were going to do on the podcast to tell you a wee story today, I was in my local betting shop, right? And there's a guy there who's absolute class, right? I mean, he's absolute class. Every day he does at 3 separate bookmakers £60 treble, right? And he does it with the same jockey. So he did it today with Sam Twiston-Davis at Ludlow, right? So Sam Twiston-Davis gets the first 2 legs in brilliant. I'm honestly, he's wetting himself in the box because he's going to win £2,000. Anyway, he has a saver on the third favourite this is a bumper, right? And Twiston-Davis is on the favourite. He has a saver on the third favourite. Anyway, the second favourite is backed. And it's trained by James Owen. And he goes, Paul, he goes, do you know anything about this horse? I think I might have a saver. I said, you've got to have a saver. I said, if you want to have the blank of the field, if you want to cover the field. I said, listen, I'll ring someone. I know someone who might know the horse. So I rang someone who knows the horse. The horse is back from 9-2 to 3-1. He says, yeah, it's very strongly fancied. What does this dickhead do in the bookmakers? He doesn't cover his bet. What happens at the end of the day? His selections get beaten half a length and 2 lengths. And he absolutely goes mental in the betting shop. The woman behind the counter is scared out of her wits. And I've pulled him back and I've said, well, next time use your loaf, you divvy. Lose your loaf. Because betting is about mathematics. If you can cover, even just minimum to get your stake back. What an absolute idiot. Could not.
Oh, well, to be fair, you shouldn't have too many bets. I mean,
I agree with you, but he was in such a strong position.
Yeah. I mean, the obvious thing to do, by the way, would have just been to lay the silly on bets.
He doesn't like laying. He doesn't.
Well,
I don't think he understands.
What can you do? So yes, your condom punting in that case would have helped.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And you come up with these new phrases every week that I've not even heard about, which is absolutely lovely. You're listening to The Racing Alternative and you're watching Stephen on his couch. It's good to have you with us for episode 2. And the most interesting part of the podcast is the back end of the podcast. It is selection time for week 2. Stephen, what's happening?
Yes, well, do like us if we happen to give some selections, because then we will look incredibly good and it can enhance our considerable egos further. So on Saturday, I think we should just touch on what a disappointing card it is at Wincanton. It's ITV are there. It's their big day of the year.
The ground.
It's the ground. I remember going to see Teton Mill win this many, many years ago.
That is really years ago. You could have gone down there and wee-weed on the ground or something with the amount of lager that you drink every day. I might have gone to...
I don't drink lager. What do you think I am?
Vimto, I don't know. There are other soft drinks available on the high street.
Yes, there are. Vimto's very good. The head office is not far from here. Yeah. But, we've got a 5-on shot in the elite hurdle. Yeah. We've got an 8-11 shot in the Rising Stars. And let's just face it, the Badger Bears is just another thoroughly monotonous handicap chase, I'm afraid. It's a damp... Well, it's not a damp squib. It's a dry squib, isn't it, given the ground?
It's a Sahara.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Sahara comes to Somerset. I thought the bets were on the flat. Now, obviously, Doncaster's the last turf meeting of the season. Do you remember when it used to be Folkestone, by the way?
I do remember. I went a couple of times. Yeah.
Yes, used to be on a Monday at Folkestone, but there we are. I thought in the EBF Gillies Fillies stakes, try saying that when you've had a few, I thought Anna Swan was moderately interesting. I don't think her draw in 17 is a bad thing, given that the ground will all be chopped up at this time of year. And going, the nice wide route is a pretty wise idea. Do you know who Anna Swan was, by the way?
I have no idea, but you're going to tell me, aren't you, Mr. Noel?
Yeah, she was one of the tallest women of all time. I think she was 7'11" or something ridiculous.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Well, absolutely useless information.
Why? Yes, that's why I'm tipping her. Right, everybody bugger off home. Right, So, look, she ran really well last time in the John Musker when second to Running Lion. She goes very, very well on soft ground. I think Key at this time of year, she's not had a hard season. This will only be her second run since June. She's shown quite a bit in pretty good races, you know. I mean, Wardard didn't do much, but of course ran on Champions Day. So I think she just might be a bit of value against this Danielle. I mean, Danielle, more disappointed than Daniela Westbrook is Danielle. She was second in this last year. She still has not won a race since winning a Weatherby Maiden 18 months ago when I thought she'd be a superstar. She's such a nearly horse, you know. She never quite gets the job done, and I just thought she was worth taking on.
And of course,
well, 6-4 in a slugfest at Donny. Come on, you've got to bite something else.
And Anna Swan was with Michael Stout last year, wasn't she? When they thought that she was possibly their Oaks filly for this year, so they saw an awful lot of potential in her, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that the main basis of the race is if you're backing at 6-4, you think Danielle has a 40% chance of winning. I don't think it's anywhere near that, do you?
Okay, listen, we're going to get your tips on the November handicap in a minute. Let me throw my 10 pennies worth in here. I'm going to go to Wolverhampton in the evening, which I thought you were going to go to, but you're not going to Britain's friendliest track. Actually, it's a bloody good card at Wolverhampton on Saturday. There's a Class 3 handicap at 6:30 that I'm really interested in. And I think this horse might just be touching double figures, if not an awful lot bigger. It's Silver Sword, who won at Meydan during the festival there off a mark of 89. And I thought circumstances have gone against this horse in the past 3 or 4 outings and marks in the mid-90s. Forget about its run at Haydock, because took a wide course all the way around, had no chance. I thought ran a fair race in the Cambridgeshire when was 11th of the 23 there, when a jockey made the move a little bit too early on, could have held on to him for a bit longer. He's back down to 88, so a pound lower than at Meydan. And I think in a race that is absolutely wide open, I thought Silver Sword was worthy of an each-way play, and I'm quite sweet on his chances to follow up our win from last week. Okay.
So what do you want to back him at?
I want double figures.
How low would you go?
I wouldn't go below 10-1.
Okay. I think you'll struggle to get it, personally.
Okay. Well, thanks for that.
But I might be wrong.
You've pooed on my weekend's punting, haven't you? Thanks for that, Steve.
Yes, I've defecated at you from a great height.
Go and change your
Bloody hell.
What have you got for us in the November handicap? You love this race, don't you? I bet you absolutely... Actually, November handicap, the 1st, the 3rd, the 7th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th and the 18th are all running again, and half of those are running from a higher mark and half of them are running from a lower handicap mark than last year.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out that last year was an exception rather than the rule, in terms of you generally need a double-figure draw in this race.
Yeah.
The lowest was last year, drawn 8. You don't want to be on the inside when it's the last race on the card, and it will look like a ploughed field. I think that is that just take that away if nothing else. I thought the most interesting horse in the race was Miller Spirit, and it might just give Toby Moore a first very big win. Now you're going to say, well, why are you saying about this Miller Spirit? Well, 6 in this last year off a mark of 97. He's now languishing off a much lower off 89. Now the winner that day probably beat Miller Spirit by the best part of 5 lengths. Has obviously been in a lot better form this, I think it's Lord Melbourne, since, but has gone up substantially in the weights.
£13 to be exact, Stephen. Why didn't
£13? So we're 23 better for 5 lengths.
Wow.
Now I know which one I'd want to be on. Now Miller Spirit last time, Toby weighed in light. I don't know where he lost the weight cloth. If it was at the furlong pole, it wasn't such a bad run when it was second. If it was at the 10 furlong pole, we might be in a spot of trouble. But yeah, because he did weigh in 15 pounds light, the boy. And I would say against Lord Melbourne again that the race that it won at Epsom has not worked out at all. It was pretty much a non-event. So I thought Miller Spirit offered a bit of value. Now here's another one you'll be familiar with, being a Liverpudlian, one from the gutter.
Thank you, lad.
Thank you, lads. Right. Look, he's obviously a lot worse off with Miller's Spirit than last year, better off with Lord Melbourne, but it's been basically running on quick ground all year. I think they've just freshened it up. For a lot of the race last year, this horse looked like he was going to win. He's down to a mark of 95. He's not quite ideal, but I've just got a feeling as the horse has got older, you know, he's a bit of a thinker, and I think soft ground round here, for the first time since last year, could be the conduit to something a little bit better today. And Ian Williams is in very, very good form at the moment as well.
One of the nicest guys in racing. Okay, seeing as you've gone on and on and on and on and on about the November handicap, I'm going to match you and raise you in the November handicap with last year's 18th, who went off the 11-2 second favourite, Master Builder, who's £7 lower this time around. I thought he's run well this season when he hasn't got his ideal circumstances. I think a fast run slog over 1.5 miles suits him better than 1 3/4 miles. And he's had a fairly light season as well. So he's got to turn the form around with 9 other horses in the race last year. But the reasons to believe he can do, he raced wide that day in mid-pack. He saw too much daylight. He pulled like your car tried to do when it tried to get away last Saturday morning and wasn't going anywhere. And I think off a mark of 89, he's potentially well handicapped. When you think last year, I think he was the gamble of the race, wasn't he, Stephen, in the morning? I think he was.
Yes, he was.
I think he was 14-1 into 11-2. So I thought that Master Builder would run a big race in the November handicap on Saturday. So I'm going to give you 2 selections. You've gone for 3. The other thing I was going to ask you about very quickly before we close the podcast is, first of all, to ask about, we mentioned her at the top of the podcast, Horty Claus, who won today over hurdles at Newbury on Thursday at Newbury. Do you think he's got the scope and, more importantly, the talent to become a proper Grade 1 staying chaser?
Yes.
And therein ends the racing alternative.
I do like Rebecca Curtis horses.
Yeah.
Lovely woman.
Yeah, she is a lovely woman. She's a very, 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 very nice woman, is Miss Curtis. Well, guys, that's the racing alternative.
That's it.
Please give us your reviews online, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. Tell us whether you want Stephen to cut his hair next time, and tell us more about what you want on the show. Do you want extra sections? Do you want us to talk about several different things? Because the racing alternative is your oyster for the future. Stephen, have safe travels the weekend.
Email us.
Yeah,
email us.
Well, and we shall hopefully speak to you and see you next week here on the
Enjoy your wedding, sir.
Absolutely. In conjunction with our sponsor, NLG.bet. Bye for now.